dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Unable to get home. Good evening, I'm Macy Marie. A Leslie County woman cannot get back to her house due to a mudslide blocking the road she lives on. WYMT's Lauren McCourt talked with her, and she says she just wants to be back in her own home.
For the past 3 decades, you can find Louise Koontz in her house on Collins Fork.
I've lived up here about 30 years.
But now she has to stay with her mother because she cannot get home.
I ain't been going up there because I stay out there with my mom now.
More than a month ago, a mudslide slid onto her road.
That up yonder slipped over where you can't drive up in there.
The county made efforts to clean it up, but Koontz said she's still afraid to go back in case she became stuck.
It was so muddy that I was afraid to go back up there.
Just a few days after her road was cleared, another slip occurred. This time it was not as big, but mud and debris still blocks off her house.
Yeah, I've got bad breathing, so it's hard for me to walk up there.
Each day she drives from her mother's just to feed her animals.
I come out here right here and feed my cats. I holler at them and they come down here and eat.
She sees her house from the bottom of the hill.
It's been hard not to go home.
And prays each time that the road will be cleared.
Well, maybe they'll get around to cleaning it up. Oh, I miss coming home a whole lot.
Because she's ready to be back in her own home in Leslie County. Lauren McCourt, WYMT Mountain News.
We did try reaching out to KYTC District 11 this afternoon about this slide, but we were unable to get an answer from them. And we want to share some breaking news with you now out of Perry County. Kentucky State Police say they're investigating a shooting that happened this afternoon. Police say it happened off Big Willard Road. One person was taken to the hospital with injuries. Police say they do not know the extent of the victim's injuries. No arrests have been made at this time, and we'll continue to update this story as we get more information. A death investigation is underway following a shooting in McCreary County. Kentucky State Police say Jason Dishman was shot off West Highway 92 in the Stearns community yesterday evening. He was taken to the Wayne County Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police do suspect foul play, but no arrests have been made yet. 2 women died early this morning in a crash on Highway 8 in Lewis County. It happened near the 3300 block. Troopers say Kathy Hardy from Vansburg was driving eastbound when she crossed the center line and hit Erica Gerals, who was also from Vansburg. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Police do not know what caused Hardy to cross the center line. Over in Laurel County, deputies say a man is behind bars for trying to drive over 3 people on Friday night. It happened Friday off Robert E. Cox Road, and when deputies arrived, Brandon Mills ran from them. Deputies say he assaulted a man before trying to drive into him, his daughter, and her child. The man was bleeding from his face, and the woman said she was punched, choked, and headbutted. Deputies arrested Mills and charged him with assault, endangerment, and several other charges. Officers with the Louisville Metro Police Department say this man faces charges over a message he sent threatening to kill school children. Police say James Grimes sent a Facebook message stating he was going to murder 9,000 kiddies. He also questioned how many explosives he would need to blow up a school. Police charged Grimes with terroristic threatening. Letcher County officials teamed up with their jail work release program to help make the community a little better. The Judge Executive's office supplied materials to the work release prisoners to fix potholes around the county. They started this task last week and plan to keep doing it until each of the potholes are fixed.
Said he had some materials that he could put into some potholes in our county roads, and I told him that I could supply some manpower to do that. And what we've been doing is using the work release. And those gentlemen, some of those people were actually have done blacktopping. So that's a win-win in that situation.
Jailer Bert Sloan says that he hopes to see this program grow in the future.
And you woke up with a little bit of sunshine this morning, but we've seen those clouds increasing throughout the day, but those temperatures were pretty nice outside. You'll notice here on our Moorhead cam, if you're looking at I-64, that you'll notice those clouds really increasing throughout the day, but overall we've stayed dry for now. And as we look at Stonecrest cam, also looking at those mostly cloudy skies, really see that continue as we head into your Monday. Much of the same story on satellite and radar. You also notice it looks like scattered rain chances have already impacted our area, but none of of that has actually touched the ground, really just those cloudy skies. We'll start to see those rain chances move in a little bit later this evening. Temperatures, they're pretty comfortable though, into the upper 60s to some spots in the mid 60s, a little bit cooler over into middle Kentucky, into the upper 50s in Lexington and Louisville. But for us, we were pretty warm for the day. And as we head out into the rest of this evening, we'll see those rain chances really increasing tonight, and especially as we head into your Monday. Cold front moves through, brings us a short cool down. But good news is sunshine does return quickly. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a little bit. Macy.
All right, thank you, Paige. A new report by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention paints a gruesome picture of America's opioid epidemic. In the 5 years from 2011 to 2016, the number of deaths linked to fentanyl grew by more than 1,000%. Yes, 1,000%, from fewer than 1,700 to 18,000. The number of deaths surged across all age groups, but was greatest among those 15 to 34 years old. In Louisville, a man is accused of walking through St. Stephen's Cemetery, stealing flowers and other items right off the graves. Louisville Metro police officers charged James Reitz with theft. They also plan on returning those stolen items. A handful of families stopped by Saturday to replace things like flowers or angels. But there was also something left for the families, an apology note from Ritz. It reads, "I'm sorry for the pain I may have caused so many people. I did not do it to hurt anyone."
He does feel remorse for it. I think that says something for him, and maybe a good lesson that he has learned.
Those family members say they hope Ritz learned a lesson and now knows how hurtful his actions were. In national news, Attorney General William Barr gave Congress the summary of the principal conclusions of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's 2-year Russia investigation. Barr delivered the summary to lawmakers this afternoon. One conclusion: the investigation did not find that President Trump's campaign conspired with Russia. And here's some of what the Attorney General had to say.
I also believe it is very important that the public and Congress be informed of the results of the special counsel's work. My goal will be to provide as much transparency as I can consistent with the law. I can assure you that where judgments are to be made, I will make those judgments based solely on the law, and I will not let personal, political, or other improper interests influence my decision.
The report does not recommend any further indictments. The investigation led to charges against 37 defendants, which includes 6 of President Trump's associates. 2 soldiers killed in Afghanistan earlier this week were identified Saturday by the Defense Department. Joseph Collett was from Lancaster, Ohio, and Will Lindsay was from Cortez, Colorado. The Pentagon said Saturday they died of wounds sustained while engaged in combat operations. The soldiers were both based out of Fort Carson, Colorado. The soldiers' death brings the total number of casualties in Afghanistan in 2019 so far to 4. Thousands of people gathered in the New Zealand city of Christchurch on Sunday to listen to prayers, songs, and speeches at a vigil to remember the 50 people killed in a terrorist attack on 2 mosques. Officials estimate up to 40,000 people attended the event. The names of each of the 50 people killed were read out. New Zealand has been holding a series of memorials since the attacks. Passengers left stranded on a cruise ship shared shocking video on social media. More than 1,000 people were on board when engine troubles left them helpless in rough waters off the western coast of Norway. Now the ship is finally back at a port, but its passengers were shaken by the grueling ordeal. Here's David Daniel.
A 12-day scenic tour turned nightmarish.
We could see that we were getting blown in towards some rocks. It was a very dangerous situation, frankly.
Hundreds of passengers on a Viking Sky cruise ship stranded off the coast of Norway, some waiting in life vests for 20 hours as strong winds and rough waters made conditions miserable and dangerous. At least 20 people were injured as the ship tossed about.
Furniture would slide across the room, slide back, and with it came people and glass.
Norway's Joint Rescue Center undertook a massive operation to airlift more than 400 people from the ship to safety.
I mean, as soon as they hoisted you up, he grabbed me and pulled me in like a sack of potatoes and dragged me to the back of the helicopter.
By Sunday morning, 3 of the ship's 4 diesel engines had regained power. More than 800 people remained on board as the ship, assisted by tugboats, slowly made its way to port. Despite the turbulent sea and the frightening ordeal, some passengers were able to find a silver lining.
I can't get over how magnificent the crew was on the ship, the National Guard, and how kind the Norway people have been.
I'm David Daniel reporting.
Viking Ocean Cruises thanked Norwegian Emergency Services for their help and said its priority has always been the safety and well-being of its passengers and crew. They're working to get everyone back home as soon as possible. And still to come on Mountain News Weekend Edition. Are you feeling lucky? If so, now might be the time to buy a Powerball ticket. The jackpot keeps climbing. More on that next. And today, hundreds of bird dogs and their hunters kicked off the annual trial season.
And showers return this evening, but when will sunshine return? We'll break down that full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.